in favor of Reciprocity.
Yeah. The last 3 official maps they've played so far, at least in our tournament, have been 5-1 in Rec's favor.
15-3 in overall round count in favor of Reciprocity. Over Endgame in the past 2 weeks. Absolute insanity. And if this ends at another 5-1, it's going to be a 20-4 overall round count. But regardless, Endgame, they've got to come out stronger. And like you said, hopefully they were doing some VOD review and improving their Icebound map, because they need to win this.
I mean, so far so good. Endgame getting the early control of these numbers. Reciprocity able to hop on B, so a little bit of a time lead, but the early fights did favor Endgame. As you see, Solar's a few members in front of him. And the kill feed, those teammates are beginning to fall. Reciprocity now on C, and despite kind of losing those early advantages, do find themselves with the objective lead. So at the end of the day, you most of the time win with points.
Yeah.
So they'll take that.
Well, as a player, we'll drop praise. We'll take powers out. Rushies will answer back. Solar's trying to get a little bit bold, but the pressure is being applied. He's getting shot from a couple of different angles. No reason for Reciprocity to push up and try and take Solar's out, but who knows, they might. A couple of marks will take place. Endgame not in a position to really push onto B, but you do notice stacking down low. Maybe going for Charlie, but who knows? Maybe they take over this cut position and then maybe push over into Bravo for themselves. They're definitely stacking up quite well, but that scoreline's starting to get a bit scary, right? You reach a certain point to where you're forced to get not only a break onto the neutral hill, but also a break onto the home hill of the enemy team. And we're starting to get into that territory now. Maybe just a couple of seconds. 143 and counting to 41. That's a 100-point lead for Reciprocity. The collapse is finally starting to take place. Prey's now trying to get something going. The break on Charlie looking like it might just be happening. And yes, it is in fact going to be occurring as Rushy's forced to back up. Powers will try to come up. Explosives miss a crucial shot, and Powers gets away with his life. ANC now in control of Endgame.
Yeah, Solar's on his way over to B, at least going for that break. They can manage to get on that hill and get that break. That would be big when it comes to at least trying to get back into the time. Trip cap attempt is underway. Solars and Summons finding themselves in a world of hurt as Solars tries at the very least to just preserve his own life on the way out. The other end looks like Praise might have downed his own teammate. You guys do come through, and said Reciprocity still do hold that lead. You see they still hold the win condition. If they hold on to B the rest of the way through, they will win on 1.
But that's a tough hill to hold.
At some point, you got to figure out. Endgame will start pinching from both sides at the same time, though. It gives an opportunity for a player to maybe sneak away to one of the home hills. Solar's choosing not to spawn back in. Finally gets into the game. Explosive, of course, their in-game leader, one of the players you want on the map the most. You got to figure he has a decision to make too, right? Is he going to throw his hat back in there? Is he going to try and push for this kind of last second fight? Speaking of fights, Icy versus Mental over for the C Hill. The kill feed beginning to light up Blue Taylor.
Oh, that's a big win, though.
But for how long?
That's a big win. You notice player number 4 is going to be rotating over. That's going to be explosive. That's going to be a good stun, though. Unfortunately, misses the first shot, and Icy capitalizes and punishes him for it. Let a break, though.
Hold on.
Like it is going to be taking place in-game.
I think they have this.
May be able to do this. Franchise will drop, and in-game at the very end sneaks by the skin of their teeth a victory to win round 1 when everything looked like it was against them. They were able to succeed in the end. Phenomenal work from in-game.
Made the play when needed to most. That's kind of the old Optic Round special right there. Hit the hill at the final moment, won the final fight, and it looked like it was getting grim for a second. Explosive, made a good flank, and unfortunately whiffed the shot, got punished, but Praise was there. He had the help from his teammates at the last second. They did what they did best, man. They took over that hill. They got that trip cap, and like I said, despite Reciprocity controlling that round for most of the time, at the end of the day, on those long spawn rounds, man, as long as you win that one fight in the right spot on the map, that can be it.
It started with that overextension, right? In-game played the objective game well. They've got both ANC locked in. That forced Reciprocity to be pinned up on Bravo before the break even ended up happening. In-game had control of the points. They closed that deficit because remember, Reciprocity was up well over 100 points. So in-game did a great job coming back. Now off into this round, Powers goes absolutely mental on mental, as well as Solar's dropping both. Phenomenal plays overall. That's 2 down, but you do notice in-game still 2 up. It's going to be Solar's, Summons, Mental will be respawning back in. Reciprocity, a good initial. But Endgame is going to be on B, and it seems as if, despite losing the manpower off the initial, objectively they might be okay, but we see Reciprocity using the numbers in their favor. They're going to retake B.
Dancing around, getting those chain revives with the full hill cap, and you just saw powers in that initial, man. He's just, what's the right word for it other than just very, very good at the video game. Just killing 2 players off spawn, controlling that entire part of the map, and as we see him once again, just look at what it takes to kill this guy. Finally does get the down, but his teammates are there. Can Reciprocity follow it up? It looks like the answer is going to be yes. Kenny looking for the trade, but Solar's on the back end, so Endgame do end up taking the fight over at trading post, at least for now. So let's see where their rotation is next. You're going to see Rushies shooting all the ice for if they hop out.
Now you got to be thinking, this is where Endgame went for that OE attempt, at least in the last round. At least after the first couple of pushes, the first couple of wipes. Reciprocity stacking up on Bravo, though, thinking that's where the attention is going to be made. But still, Endgame does control trading post, and you do notice Reciprocity looking to take control of that area. As Icy, unfortunately, is going to drop. Is that going to be the catalyst that pushes forward Endgame to take control of B? Kenny now trying to get summons out. He knows how important trading post is going to be. Miss rolls, still though, able to miss a couple of shots. Summons still alive. The ice taking effect, and Kenny will get dropped.
Oh, so there's like 2 folds in there. So Rushies was the one, his teammate was the one who actually shot the ice out. If Kenny had just jumped out about a second later, the ice wouldn't have been there. So a very unfortunate swing for Kenny. So looks like Endgame running forward again. I don't know if anyone's going to be there off spawn. Another trip cap. Already kicking it off much better than last week's Icebound, a 2-0. So there's still plenty of series left if they're playing like this.
In the past 3 maps we've seen from last week to this week between Endgame and Reciprocity, we have not seen Endgame win 2 rounds. So this is very encouraging to see them now finally, on a map such as Icebound, their pick, them now to be leading against Reciprocity. And if you're an Endgame fan, that's encouraging because you know Training Grounds is coming up next if Endgame wins this. And that 100% could be where Endgame maybe takes away with this overall series for this Grand Finals, right? They want to win. It's been a while since they've won a Grand Finals. It's been quite some time. Going back in my notes, Endgame hasn't won since week 7. That's how long it's been.
It's a crazy thought, that's for sure. As you're on board the Rushies once again. Get that early piece of utility in there for his teammate Powers and see what he can do with that. As currently, the numbers do favor Endgame. Powers going to get that first blood onto Phrased. Supposed to be going to kind of back off at least for now. Team Fire's coming through, and Powers gets not just the first, but the second for good measure. Can he make it a third? Rushies will be the one there, but Mental is able to get the trade. So it looks like the B hill is going to favor Reciprocity at least for now, and it's kind of up to Endgame to kind of figure out where their push comes next.
To be fair, Reciprocity's won the initials pretty much every single round, right? All 3 rounds now. But it's about what they do in the end game, specifically where end game ends up taking place.
Pun intended,
So
huh?
no pun intended, yeah, totally unintentional. But that's where end game really starts to take off, is towards the later portion of the round. And a good instant from Franchise. That backs up the push from end game as they were pushing pretty strong. Look at this little nerd angle though from Icy down low. I mean, it's not going to be that effective, but regardless, is able to at least back a couple players off. Now Icy trying to go for the chain revive. It's not going to happen. And so battle Mental and get a nice drop. Misroll into Explosive. He will, in fact, get dropped. But Reciprocity has snuck over, and they're going for the domination. But you do notice with that fight one over on Icy, that opened the door for Bravo, and that kept Endgame alive.
Yeah, it looked like Icy went for like the up A to kind of finish off the down player and almost just rolled right into him. I'm sure he wants that one back, and Endgame managed to grab the B hill in the nick of time. And the kill feed starting to light up blue yet again, so potentially another round that Reciprocity started off with a lead on. Starting to kind of swing tides over towards Endgame. They have control of B, they have their home hill back, and there's still plenty of round to go. So a lot of time for them to kind of get back into this time. Sorry, a lot of time for them to get back into this objective time.
Yeah. You see them stacking down low, not only to potentially take over trading posts, but also retake that double home hill setup. It's going to be a big push for Reciprocity, as currently Endgame is, in fact, going to win over this time, but a couple more breaks are inevitably going to happen, as we do see a couple players from Reciprocity rotate back up towards Bravo. But they're still not going to be able to win that. You have that player in trading posts, and he's going to be able to just pepper shots left and right. So Explosive, they need to challenge him. But regardless, they're not even going to worry about it. They're just going to go ahead and push on to Bravo. They get the neutralization, but they're not able to get the full cap as of yet.
And that's the break they needed, right? If they'd let Endgame hold the 2 cap, they would have won before the end of the round. So Reciprocity got the start, got the break they needed, but now Endgame are pushing forward over to the Rec home hill. Powers doing his best to hold it down for his team. He gets Solars, but there's going to be 2 more members in front of him. In the meantime, Endgame find themselves on B. Mental able to dodge the Incend, and potential trip cap underway, but just like that, 3 quick kills come through for Reciprocity. They're going to get back on C, but they know it's not going to be enough, right? Cog team has the position to win on 2 hills. And he's going to light up Mental. They get the break onto A. It's going to be a good start. Powers versus Solars for the hill. Endgame do win that, so they can make their way over to C. Could be their chance to win this round. Of course,
oh, they're going to be there
for B at the same time, and this gets interesting now. Reshi's permanently out of the game. Icy Powers are both dead. Fran goes down. Endgame, once again, have stolen a round away. That is a 3-0. Reciprocity, I think, for 3 rounds in a row have had positioning. They've had the timely. They basically let it slip. Endgame continues to clutch up.
That Endgame is doing so well that Reciprocity just can't answer back?
They basically keep, again, like we know from this team, winning the fights when it matters most towards the end of the rounds and kind of almost making what looks impossible happen, right? Kind of getting those split pushes in there. You saw them win the fight over at B. They won the fight over at the home hill, and that's kind of what they've always done best for a number of years. That's why they've won so many events.
Now you got to be thinking, Reciprocity, what do you do? Is a power weapon your best play? Do you continue building the weapon trees as you've been doing? Well, yeah, I guess you do. You don't place a drop. But this first half, I'm not going to lie, Reciprocity has played this first half well. It's just in-game.
Yeah, I mean, all 3 rounds, they basically had an advantage.
They have played perfectly just about, but it's always been those last couple of seconds where in-game just seems to find an opening and take the lead.
At the end of the day, you got to close those rounds out, right? All those advantages mean nothing if you don't close it out. Another 3 dead for Reciprocity. Praise the last member alive. He's trying to buy as much time as possible. He's going to go down. No one from Endgame able to spawn back up and get to a hill in time. So Reciprocity somehow, I don't know how I'm saying this, Reciprocity just find their first round of the map, finishing the first half off. I can't believe I'm saying that they've had control of so many.
Yeah,
but they keep letting it fall short.
It's just so weird to me. Like I said, they've dominated the initials. They've dominated mid-game. I mean, they've even dominated late game. It just comes down to that final, really the final 30 seconds, if you will, where in-game just turns things in their favor. But if you're a Reciprocity fan, it's encouraging to see that they do, in fact, win at least 1 round to bring it 3-1. And the weapon trees continue to get built. No power weapons being placed, all utilities. And a lot to work with here is now on the second half that Neutral Hill is going to move over. And it's going to make that fight for trading posts that much more important. And obviously, longer spawns here is going to make your life that much more valuable. You do not want to go down early on. And Reciprocity pretty much concedes trading post to Endgame. A very curious move. Maybe worried about a shock, especially up close, or maybe even Ensign. 1 shock has been used, though, so less utility on the map overall. Summon still has that Ensign, so Reciprocity has to keep that in the back of their mind. But a lot of a much slower start than I'm used to seeing. I for sure thought this was going to be a bloodbath for this battle for trading post, but not the case. As both teams kind of waiting it out for the other to make a mistake, they're okay with as the hills as they go. And Reciprocity going to have at least some utilities in hand, so is Summons, right, with the Ensign. And a well-placed Ensign, especially with this close quarter fight for E, could be hugely beneficial. And finally, utility is going to come through. Ensign's going to be thrown. Summon's going to connect onto Kitty. Powers is, in fact, going to be hit pretty low himself, but it's not going to stop him as he runs through Mental and Praise. That's going to be a good break. Trading post now in the hands of Reciprocity. And Summons around the corner is going to be the main catalyst to try and stop this push for Endgame. Hits a couple of shots, gets away. Rushies will take out Explosives in the meantime. Solars still backing up Summons. Nobody able to capture E as of yet. Reciprocity will be trying to do just that. They're going to be able to do it. Now a deep break is also going to be taking place. There's going to be a battle over at the D hill. Franchise is going to be the main catalyst for that. He's going to manage to win that fight. It's going to be 3 up for the side of Endgame, and a break on E is going to keep Endgame alive for the time being.
And Rushy shoots the ice underneath Solar's 4,000 IQ play. And now Reciprocity are sitting on the E hill. Rushies is still alive. Talk about a heads-up play from one of the main slayers of Reciprocity, and for good measure, just goes and blows Mental's head off.
It took forever for that fight to take place, and it was wrapped up in a matter of 20, 30 seconds. And I do appreciate Franchise also pushing D, allocating resources from Endgame, right? They couldn't just stack up on E like they probably wanted to provide that extra cover for Summons and Solars. No, they had to backtrack to take Franchise off of Delta. They do that, but at what cost? Well, the cost is a 50-point lead, or at least a 50-point deficit for the people of Endgame. E and F now in control of Reciprocity. But how many times have we been here?
I was going to say,
how many times have we been
here before? This is a situation we're all too familiar with on this Icebound map. Of course, we're on a different half, right? So the hills are much different this time around. Slowers and Co., they do get onto the hill. Now they find themselves on F as well.
Here we go.
So we've seen this story unfold before, Taylor. It's like this time that Reciprocity did a little better of a job as they have 4 dead.
Yeah. Powers needs his skill. No, he's not going to be able to get it. He doesn't get the pickup. Grace tries to go for the finish. He gets finished himself, and that will solidify the round. It looked a little bit scary. Endgame was looking as if, okay, maybe they're coming back, but no. Reciprocity will hold on tight as they chain together at least 2 rounds, 1 round away from tying it up 3-3. Reciprocity still very much in this Endgame. They've got to take 1 more round. They need to get at that 4 mark to give that little added insurance to know, okay, we're at that mark. We're 1 round away. But if Reciprocity ties us up, it's going to be scary. And once again, Botox being placed down.
My favorite.
And, of course, you know who's going to be picking it up. It's going to be Powers, and he knows how to connect some shots.
Yeah, and to me, again, this is definitely the swing round. We talk about kind of the mental aspect of this 3-2 round. If you're Endgame, getting that 4-2 lead, right? Really taking a stranglehold of this second map, looking to force that 3rd map, and the other end, Reciprocity. Of course, they already have that lead. They can manage to tie this back up at 3-3. They pretty much handed away a couple rounds already, so from a confidence perspective, you got to feel like they bring us back to 3-3, get back to an even slate. They'll be feeling as confident as ever. Curious to see kind of which team comes out on top here. Because to me, this round, could very well be the map.
You notice, once again, Reciprocity conceding trading post to Endgame, which I thought would be a huge disadvantage, but the way Reciprocity collapsed down was hugely beneficial and actually changing things up from even last round. They're already going for that OE to F.
When Franchise chases Summons, hits him with a good brick, but Summons answers back with the Incen. It's one of those players who's just so good with grenades, Incens, and kind of everything in between.
I like the idea of going for the OE, switching things up, but that also puts you at risk of losing E, that neutral hill. And once you lose that, it's so hard to retake.
Yeah, especially on a map like this where it's a little bit slower, right? A little bit tougher to kind of get those, get those caps, get those breaks, whatever it may be. You see Rec just kind of tapping the hill when they can, trying to keep Endgame off, but Endgame getting too aggressive right now, and they're getting the kills. 3 members go down for Reciprocity. That's going to give them the neutral. On the other end, the Reciprocity have found themselves on the home hills, so at the very least, they can try to buy some time.
Yeah, but they're going to lose that so quickly. They're already losing it. Player number 4, Explosive, is going to be retaking the home hill. They're going for the domination. Reciprocity just spawning up, and you got to think, how many lives do you want to commit here? Well, it seems as if they're not going to be able to do enough, and Endgame is going to take a solid round 6 to lead 4-2. They needed this to put them 1 round away from taking this victory 5-2, but Reciprocity going for that OE. At first, I was a fan of it, but a well-connected Ensign shut that flank down. They shut the double home hill setup down for Reciprocity, who eventually got it, but that opened the door for the neutral hill for Endgame, and Reciprocity was spread pretty thin at that point. Once they got the E hill, they won a couple of fights. They were able to go ahead and extend over for the home hill of Reciprocity and take that domination. A cool play, a creative play, but in the end, it doesn't pay off. High risk, high reward. And now, Reciprocity at risk of losing this and forcing a trading grounds. Definitely have to see how it work out. Reciprocity's been known to turn things around, but at this point in time, Endgame, they're sitting pretty.
Absolutely. Again, we talk about the swing round now. This map feels overwhelmingly in Endgame's favor now. Of course, their work is cut out. 1 more round to send this to a 3rd and final tiebreaker. like Endgame doing much better in this trading post fight. Someone's going to grab that incense. He made a big play with it last time. So far, his teammates are making these big plays in trading post. The kill feed continue to pretty much light up almost all blue. And franchise kills Rushies. Reciprocity, I think they were answering back, and an unfortunate team kill. Endgame are going to absolutely take advantage of that. So now, a 3 versus 2 advantage for the COG team. They're going to secure the E-Hill early on. Despite this down on summons, Endgame's still looking to come out, at least for now. Icy does do a good job of finishing off summons there, so a good heads-up play by him. But Endgame still have a decent setup. If they don't get mental out of trading post, it's going to be very, very tough. Both go down on the way in. Rush has to make a play.
I'm not going to lie. It seems as if Reciprocity losing a little bit of composure, but I mean, just like that,
Brandon
they wiped 4 down.
What did they just do?
Are you kidding me? Summons last alive. Nothing he can do. He can't even get, well, he does barely get a touch. And Reciprocity, Endgame won that initial, Ryan.
And they kind of won the second wave of fights too, but Rushies and Fran come from the heavens and just kill everyone in sight.
And I was just about to comment, Reciprocity is losing composure. They were just going in full steam ahead, and they were just getting wiped out left and right, and then just like that, 4 go down for Endgame.
This map has been nuts.
Just
in general. Just like, all these rounds have just been flipped on their head over, except for that one round that Endgame won last.
Yeah.
All these rounds pretty much, in one way or another, have just been flipped on their side.
They've not gone in any way, shape, or form according to Gears logic whatsoever. Maybe this is Gears logic. I don't know. Teams win other map teams' picks. Reverse sweeps happen all the time. It's just funky, man. Do we have an M-bar? We do have an M-bar.
We don't see that very often up here.
We don't see that ever.
We did see one time. I think it was the it was in the Challenger Series where a team put a torque bow up on the kind of the heaven spot. That was pretty fun to watch. Let's see.
M-bars are so fun though. We don't ever see an M-bar anymore. Gears 4, yes. Gears 5, no.
Endgame do get that early cap onto E. Of course, both teams have full strength. But now Endgame start to build that objective lead. It's just so impossible right now for Reciprocity to just kind of freely hop on and go for that break. Make some kind of utility play, some kind of push into trading post, but Mental knew it was coming and he answered back. Looking good right now if you're a fan of Endgame. 5 versus 3 on the map. Make that a 5 versus 2. Franchise on the other end tries to make a sneaky play over on the home hill. 3 members in front of Icy. He eventually goes down. Reciprocity trying to at least cover their home, trying to get their players back off spawn and make another push at full strength.
Trading post about to see a lot of action. You notice Reciprocity stacking down low, but they lost 1 player, and Endgame's going to have at least man advantage on this point in time. If Endgame plays this appropriately and they get these couple of kills, which they are starting to do, this could open the door for that OE, especially with player number 3, Solars, right, being so far pushed up the D. He'll get pushed back, and Endgame, they'll go ahead and retreat back themselves, right? Just give them some time, right? They've got the point lead. They're in control of E and F. There's no reason to get crazy and go for the overextension. Reciprocity's got to answer back here, and they really don't have much time to waste. They've got to get a couple breaks.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to basically have to make a push pretty quickly onto one of the hills and then move their way over to the last, where they have to make a good split push. Those are kind of your 2 options right now. Kenny makes his way over to the home hill. Takes up a little bit of the attention of Endgame, but they are there. Looks like Powers doing a good job of winning the fight over at E, but if they lose that fight at F, I mean, it's almost all for nothing. I'd say that fight's going pretty well. Icy versus Mental for the hill. Spawns are getting shorter over time. Icy does get the break, but Mental does win the fight. Reciprocity, of course, down by so much, they don't really have the ability to kind of play off too. Their win condition pretty much falls to this F hill. Praise going to have that shock grenade, so you have to imagine that throw it right on the hill. The smoke grenade being thrown as well. Lots of utility in Reciprocity's favor. Powers is putting that Bull Talk to use. Players are dropping left and right. That's going to be 3 dead.
But player number 1 is going to be sneaking
over
over
Summons. Summons on his way at E. The last remaining Pember they're on. If he gets chunked here, that's going to be huge. Can Mental get to the hill in time? If he doesn't get a touch, it's going to be a Reciprocity round. He drops the 1-yard line once again, Taylor. When the team needs to win the round the most, it is now Reciprocity in the second half who are stealing the rounds away from the hands of Endgame. I can't even fathom these plays that these teams are making. The first half was Endgame stealing the rounds.
And look
now
at the kills.
Reciprocity stealing the rounds.
Look at the kills. Endgame has been outslaying Reciprocity. It's just been a matter of just weird rounds.
And at this point in time, I don't even want to win the initial. I don't want to win the early. I don't want to win the middle. At this point,
The initial hasn't mattered.
if you win the initial, if you win the middle, if you get a time lead, you're probably going to lose at this point. That's how this map has felt like.
Looking at respawn economy, in-game does have a little bit of the advantage, but I mean, hey, at this point, logic is just really thrown out the window. This is going to be an exciting last round. In-game has to win this, so Reciprocity is going to take their 5th grand final victory in Emergence Day Season 2. And once again, in-game, with a solid initial, Reciprocity is basically giving it to them. But Reciprocity is not far behind, right? They're going to continue to push forward and maybe get a couple of kills as Mental will take out Kenny. Franchise will answer on to Mental. A good little trade is going to go down. Icy now take Mental out himself. And all is going to be quiet as Reciprocity looking to make this push into trading post.
Franchise gets drilled by Summon's Lantern. He's one of those players on pretty low respawn economy, so early on, a lot of kills favoring Endgame. Rush falls, Fran falls. It's going to put both of them on one respawn, so to me, definitely something to keep mind of. And explosive. Despite getting flanked by Icy, turns around and makes him pay, so everything so far has been favoring Endgame, which made the joke that might not be a good thing based on some of these prior rounds, but as they can continue to farm those kills out, sooner or later, Fran or Rush might find themselves on one kill. If Rush just gets chunked here, that would be tragic. Manages to stay alive, manages to get the kill. On the other end, like you said, Endgame respawn economy is pretty much flawless. I mean, players on 3, 4, I mean, you're in the last round. That's plenty to work with.
But they didn't get the break onto E, at least as of yet. Look at how spread apart Reciprocity is. They need to be careful. Franchise will, in fact, drop. That's going to put Kenny by himself as he's forced to back up. Now, Endgame a little bit more tightly placed onto E. They can make a nice push to regain control of this, especially with some utility in their favor. Summon still has an ensign to his name, so that's going to definitely come in handy. But from the side, Rushies will take Mental out. The Boltok now in the hand. Solar is getting brought down very low. And now the kill feed starting to light up blue. Solars will take out Icy. Summons will take out Kenny. But then again, the triple cap coming into effect, but quickly in-game will be on to Bravo, or excuse me, on to E.
Rush in his last life. Fran's permanently out in the meantime.
This should be in-game taking this victory.
You got to imagine Endgame wins this, right? They're obviously top-tier team at the highest level. None of these teams really lose these often. Plays are being made left and right. That's going to be 3 down for Endgame, but unfortunately there's also 3 down for Reciprocity. The unfortunate part if you're a Rec fan is that one of those players cannot spawn back up.
It's going to be a tough win for Reciprocity.
And Rush is the one getting the cap. Rush is the one that can't spawn back into the game. You see the win conditions still favoring the COG team to win on 2. Explosive going to shoot the ice and try to hurt their exit as much as possible. It's going to force them basically down to 1 or 2 lanes because the Reciprocity win condition is pretty much entirely through D. Powers gets it down, but Mental downs him at the same time. Praise has a decision to make where he's going to throw this Insen.
Icy just runs right through the Instant 2 to go for the kill. And Icy actually is going to capitalize. Icy managed to get the kill onto Praise, but in the end, it's not going to be enough. 3 players are going to drop onto the side of Reciprocity, and Endgame with a narrow victory is going to take it 5-4 to force us to Game 3 on Training Grounds.
That was a ridiculous Icebound map, to say the least. Both teams just clutching up left and right. Endgame squeezing by 5-4 on the Reciprocity map pick, by the way. So
yeah, and you know, a questionable one that we saw for, or at least thought Endgame was going to come in and basically get destroyed last week. They lost 5-1 to Reciprocity on this very map, but much different story this week. Pushing into Training Grounds, you give Endgame an inch, they'll take a mile, and they've got to be feeling good now. Finally, after 2 weeks, they take at least 1 game over Reciprocity.